Welcome to Mainland Television Regional News. I'm Graham O'Brien, and in today's news we have how was the cricket, bars caught out with underage drinkers, Nelsonians on changing the flag, and more. International cricket has come and now gone from Saxton Field, and we wanted to weigh up the benefits that this has brought to the region and whether we got good bang for our buck. Chrissy Small spoke with Councillor Davies about this.
Eric Davey, we've just had the ICC here in Nelson, 3 games, and it was a fabulous turnout. What are the long-term benefits of having such an event here in Nelson?
You can, it's immeasurable, but I can say that with the people I was involved with, that they are going to come back to New Zealand, they're going to come back to Nelson. They thought Nelson was just the best place that they could ever visit. They toured Abel Tasman National Park, they did skydiving, they did all the adventure sports that we have here. They did the tourism things, and we had camera crews from India here who were actually out doing a travel log because they thought it was such a fabulous place. Long-term benefits for this area? The long-term benefits are that we're going to get overseas people wanting to come here to see what Nelson has. Because the coverage we got during the ICC World Cup was just enormous. Our cricket ground looked spectacular, and I can say that cricket leaders from who I spoke to out there at the cricket ground just said this is a fabulous complex, and well done to the Nelson City Council and the Tasman District Council for putting it together. Yep. And one of them said the long-term vision of the people who put this together years ago need to have their backs patted well and truly. Yeah. It was just fabulous. Our benefits are going to be ongoing. Sure, you're not going to be able to say, oh, we're going to make $10 million out of this. We'll never know. But the benefits, the enthusiasm, the positive comments that were coming from the visitors was just amazing.
It does make you kind of proud to come from this region when you hear those favourable comments coming back to you. Have you been invited anywhere by any of these fabulous people that have been visiting it?
If I could afford to go to India, yes. If I could afford to go to some of these other places the teams have come from, Bangladesh and so forth, they've said, come over and we'll make you welcome. Yeah, the benefits there, but no, I'm sorry.
No,
not this stage.
Yeah, I was going to say that's kind of reverse tourism, isn't it?
Well, it is. I spend my money here. Yeah, that's exactly right. But no, they couldn't praise Nelson high enough. Yeah. It was just sensational.
Yeah. So it did cost a wee bit to host the games here, but the benefits are going to be immeasurable.
Yep. In actual fact, the benefits to the city, in my humble opinion, are greater than from the Rugby World Cup. Okay. And I say that because when you drove around here on the Sunday and Monday, before and during the game, there wasn't a motel room to be had in the city. There was for the Rugby World Cup. This happened for each of the games. Now, all you have to do is talk to the Motel Association, and they'll tell you that during the games, they were full. And this is marvellous. Now, people say, no benefit to the city? Yes, it might have cost $1 million for us to put that on. But how much came back to the workers in this town? Because the motels, they had to employ cleaners. The cafeterias and the restaurants, they had to employ staff. And they had to employ more staff than normal because they were all full. If you drove around here, like I had to, on those nights during the Cup, the restaurants were chocker. There was standing room only. Yeah. And so you've got to say, well, now, all those people who are doing the servicing, the waiters and the motel cleaners and the bus drivers and taxis and so forth, that money comes back into our community, doesn't go offshore, it stays here, and people earned more money during that period than they would have normally met. So was it beneficial? Absolutely.
Confusion reigned for some local businesses leading up to the Cricket World Cup, with local vendors being left hanging by the ICC vetting process and the multinational corporations wanting to control any of their profits from going to local operators. Penny Strong of Nourish had her application to run a stall at the ICC venue turned down at the last minute when Pepsi refused to allow her all-natural, no added sugar fruit smoothies, which they said was in too close competition with their products. Nelson Council has banned sugary drinks from local events in the best health interests of the people, but in this ICC-run event that appears to have gone out the window with a blind eye turned against Council's own health initiative. I talked with some of the local businesses about their thoughts on the processes that ICC dictated, and was it all worth the hassle at the end of the day. Good, the ICC World Cup event was fantastic for the cricket fans. How was it for you guys as stallholders, all the process, everything you had to go through? Was it worth it in the end?
You know, honestly, to start with, it was quite a hassle. There was a lot of things that had to be abided to, in terms of the organisers had to, you know, follow certain guidelines, which made it quite a challenge. But I think at the end of the day, it was a good event. It was great for Nelson. It was good for us. You know, it had its highs, it had its lows. But at the end of the day, I'd definitely do it again. Yeah. And
did you have any hassle like the others have with big corporations having to give you their permission at the last moment?
We had to abide by what they wanted, which is quite difficult, you know. And they didn't change things that weren't correct. So that was quite a challenge.
Hey Amir, the Cricket World Cup was fantastic for the cricket fans. How was it for you guys as stallholders with all the processes and everything? Was it worth it at the end of the day?
It was worth it. We did go through a bit of a hassle, you know. One thing I didn't like really, it was calling me selling Greek food. That did, like, you know, the caravan is called Pyramid Souvlaki, and they mugged that up a bit. But except of that, everything went to alright. It was good. We did have a bit of a muck up, changing situation, changing sites and things like that. Part of that, it was right. It was a good event, first for me, so it was always a good thing to go through. And yeah.
Can you just explain how you turned from an Egyptian to Greek overnight?
The reason was because souvlaki was traditionally Greek food, which is, I understand that. So they thought they would call it Greek food. Yeah.
So ICC came in and changed your signage, is that what you said?
Pretty much all the caravans had no signage, had no business names, everything was covered up. They did the own signage with the Pepsi logos and all that stuff on it, and one of them was Greek food. And yeah, I told them, why wouldn't they put Egyptian food? They had no answer to that. They did change, saying that they did change my sign the next game after that. They changed it and they called me souvlaki, so that was alright.
Thanks, Vico, for giving us a bit of your time. I mean, the ICC World Cup cricket was great for the fans. How was it for you as a stall owner? The processes and everything were pretty involved, and would you do it again?
Well, I think our main appeal was that we thought we could send the smell of roasting peanuts across all the fans at the cricket there, and I thought we should have our caravan down there or something with peanuts so that people made that connection. But in the end, once we had to take all the branding off the caravan and put stickers over all that stuff, and we were even told to take our jars off the counter, because we just wanted to connect people with peanut butter. We made satay sticks, chicken satay sticks, which were, you know, fed people, but that wasn't what it was about. We really wanted to sort of be out there and put our name in front of people, and because we weren't able to do that, and it cost us a fair bit of money to be over there, so I don't think we'd do it again.
Yeah, because as a local business, I mean, that's what it's all about, getting your name out there, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's what it is, and supporting Nelson. I didn't hear a lot on the commentary that they were playing in Nelson. I heard, here we are at Saxon Field, it's a beautiful day, and this guy's coming out to have another ball. So I don't know how much promotion Nelson got out of it, but yeah, it was fun. It was nice to have a few people around, and we did convert a few new foreigners visiting. So and I watched the end of the game with with West Indies. That was exciting. Yeah.
4 outlets have been caught out in a sting selling alcohol to teens in this latest police-controlled purchase operation. One of these has been caught out before selling to a minor in a previous operation. Nelson Bay's Prevention Manager, Senior Sergeant John Price, said he was very disappointed with the results of this latest operation, which was held last Friday evening on the 6th of March. He said licensees have a responsibility to ensure that they and their staff check the identification of people they serve alcohol to, or there will be consequences for their business. This latest operation involved Nelson Bay's Police Alcohol Harm Reduction Officer, together with officers from the Nelson City Council and Public Health. 2 17-year-old girls assisted the police in visiting premises licensed to sell alcohol. 23 premises in the Nelson City area were visited during the operation. 4 of the premises visited breached the Sale of Liquor Act by selling the 17-year-old girls cider. 3 of the premises who sold the underage girls alcohol did not ask the girls their age, and the 4th did not confirm the age by checking identification. Police inquiries are continuing and the premises will be identified publicly when they have been completed. All water restrictions in Tasman District for both water permit holders and urban consumers have been lifted with immediate effect. The Council's Dry Weather Task Force convener Dennis Bush-King said the rain over the weekend was of sufficient quantity to provide good recharge to the aquifers, and flows in rivers and streams are again generally healthy. Golden Bay received the most rainfall with 136 millimetres on Takaka Hill. Mr Bush-King said that salt levels were still increasing in the Hull zone near the coast in Motueka, and the council will continue to monitor this. Over 120 women joined the Nelson Suburban Club's first female president in its 45-year history, Mrs Lee Brommel, to celebrate International Women's Day on Saturday. The event was attended by local women of all ages who gathered to enjoy a high tea donated by the club. Morning radio announcer Brittany O'Rourke introduced a lineup of speakers from fields of government, the arts, business, education and medicine within the Nelson Tasman community, all of whom delivered a short inspirational speech. Over $1,800 was raised on the day, $1,200 from a charity auction and the remainder from ticket sales. All monies raised will be split between 3 local female-focused charities, Nelson Regional Breast Cancer Trust, Nelson Women's Refuge and the Nelson Women's Centre. Club President Mrs Brommel said it was heartening to see so many women from the community enjoying this inspiring event, celebrating each other. A $640 a day job, flag gazing, would be a boon for most of us, but sadly the vacancies have been filled by a panel of 12 high-profile Kiwis, chosen from names nominated by a cross-party group of MPs. This nominated group includes reality television guru Julie Christie, businessman Rod Jury, and chief executive of ad agency Saatchi & Saatchi, Nikki Bell. Chairman of this group, John Burrows, is the former Deputy Chancellor of the University of Canterbury and will receive $850 per day. The national government's budget allows almost $500,000 for this high-profile panel out of $25 million in total costs to decide our national symbol by firstly selecting a shortlist of new flag designs. The flag panel will meet earlier this month and seek public opinion from May to June. So we went to the streets of Nelson and asked people their opinion on changing the flag.
Changing the New Zealand flag could be a waste of time and money. What are your thoughts?
The New Zealand flag, we should keep the New Zealand flag because it's part of our culture, part of our heritage. A lot of people fought for that flag, First, Second World War, the Vietnam War, so no, I think it should stay the same.
Keep it the way it is.
I used to be of the opinion that it shouldn't be changed, but I don't know, I'm open-minded.
John Key is a muppet. He's an absolute clown. All he wants to do is make a name for himself because he'll never do it apart from stuffing up the country. So what does he want to do? Change our identity.
Well, I'm from Canada, so I do have some experience in the past with flag changes. It was controversial when it happened in Canada, but it's been a big hit. So I have mixed feelings. I think some of the designs I've seen that have been submitted are very attractive and more modern, but I understand the history of New Zealand and some people are linked to the past. So I kind of am of 2 opinions on this subject. But I think sometimes change is a little terrifying, but go ahead, take that step, and probably eventually everyone will be happy with whatever is chosen.
Men fought and died under that flag. It's been part of who we are since day one. Who the hell does he think he is trying to change what we all believe in?
I think it's a great idea and I think we should go ahead with it. What I don't like is actually the process that it's going through and the cost it's taking, but we've got to break away from this old traditional and have stand our own brand, a Kiwi brand. So I'm all for it.
As someone from the older generation, I'm not particularly a fan of it, although I do like the single silver fern, and that's identifiable worldwide as being Kiwi in New Zealand. So if it had to change, that would be my pick. I mean, I'd keep it as it is, but if the majority think it should change, that would be my favourite.
I'm not really fussed, but if it's going to cost millions of dollars, why change it? There's better things that the money can be spent on.
No, leave it the way it is. I like the flag. It's a great flag. Don't change it.
So I'm in favour of the one we've got.
I mean, I prefer the flag we've got. It's got colour and I'm happy with it, but not everybody is.
I like it just the way it is.
Well, I think it's too far removed from what it currently is, the one that they propose, and it's probably too much like the All Black one, and a consequence of that is that it looks as though there's a favouritism towards the All Blacks.
I don't mind. I think it'd be quite a good idea, actually. Yeah, something new, and I think we should break away from the Commonwealth. To be honest, stand on our own 2 feet. Yeah, I'm all for it. Yeah.
I'm not sure about those flag changes. I certainly don't think something that's waved at a rugby match is suitable for a national flag, and that's for sure. So I disagree with Mr. Key on that one. If we need to have a black flag, then surely if we just change our blue background to a black background, then we've got something that doesn't look like an Australian flag, and we don't upset all those people who feel strongly that we should keep the one we've got. As an Englishman, I hesitate to have too much of an opinion, but I would perhaps just change the background from blue to black. I'd keep the 4 Southern Stars and keep the Union Jack in the corner. I think that would please pretty well everybody.
Stopping distance demonstrations are coming to town to a neighbourhood near you. The aim is to slow traffic through showing onlookers a spectacular road safety demonstration next week. The series of neighbourhood park gatherings are being held in the evening, and residents are encouraged to come along with a picnic tea and enjoy the demonstrations. Chrissy Small caught up with the chair of the Works and Infrastructure Committee, Councillor Eric Davey, on a street where one of the demonstrations will be taking place.
I'm here with Councillor Eric Davey and we're on the corner of Motueka Street and Te Pahi Street. Eric, there's going to be a bit of a demonstration going on here soon outside of the school, I believe, and can you tell me a bit about it?
Yes, what we're doing is giving a stopping distance demonstration. Now, everybody believes that with a modern car that it can stop on a dime because it's got ABS brakes, and that's not true. Cars never stop on a dime. With the ABS braking, it helps considerably to slow down and stop earlier than if you put your brakes on and skid the tyres. If you do that, you lose traction and therefore the car doesn't slow down. So with this, what we're doing is showing how long it takes from a moment a person sees a hazard to when they can stop the vehicle. In this case, there will be figures of children and figures of adults on polystyrene, and they will be put out at a certain distance from the car. The driver puts on the brakes and we'll see what happens to the polystyrene. And just imagine that the polystyrene, if that was a person instead, the person will come off second best. A person and a slab of steel coming down the road at 50 kilometres an hour, the person will absolutely come off worse. Right. This also shows a difference in stopping distances from the different speeds, 50, 60, 70, and it shows how much longer it takes to stop. When you're stepping off the footpath as a pedestrian and you see a car coming towards you, just remember that you might have not given sufficient time for that person to see you. Use a pedestrian crossing, but make sure that when you are going to step off the road, that you see the driver's eyes. Look at that person's eyes in the driving seat and see, has he seen me? If not, he is not going to stop in time.
Very valid points, Eric. Now, we keep hearing about different people being hit. Is this an occurrence that happens regularly in this town? We've got the courtesy crossings. They're a worry. I think they're a worry. How do you see those?
We've had the courtesy crossings in Nelson since 1991. We've only had one person hit by a motor vehicle on them because that person walked out in front of a moving motor vehicle saying, I've got the right of way. Well, they are a courtesy crossing, and you treat them just like you treat the footpaths. When you're walking along a footpath, and you see a car coming towards you, the car will generally let you get out of the road before he drives into the driveway. They're not going to deliberately hit you, and the same with the courtesy crossings in town. They're a great way to moderate the traffic. They slow the traffic down, they allow the pedestrians time to go across, but the pedestrians have got to realise themselves that they have to make allowances for the car driver. And one thing I'd also point out, Chrissy, every car driver becomes a pedestrian. And why do their attitudes change once they get out of the driver's seat and become a pedestrian? It's a good question.
It is a really good question. Now, Eric, with those courtesy crossings, though, they aren't marked like a pedestrian crossing.
No, that's
so
correct.
in effect, it's the pedestrian who has to make sure, it's their responsibility to make sure that they're getting the right of way.
Not quite correct. No.
Okay.
Both parties are required to make sure they can carry out the manoeuvres safely. You'll find that in the main street of Nelson, a pedestrian walks out. Generally there's time for them to do so, and the car driver has plenty of time to stop. That's fine. Sometimes you'll find a car driver will stop and wave pedestrians across. That's fine. That's how they should operate.
Yeah.
They're an actual very effective way of controlling the traffic. If you have a pedestrian crossing, the rules change, and therefore you had the situation whereby you could have a string of people, one after the other, going across, and the whole thing comes to a stop. And if you have a crossing, pedestrian crossing, where every one of those courtesy crossings are, your town might as well become car-free, because you'd never get the traffic moving. The courtesy crossings are a very effective way, as long as they're treated properly. And there's no problem. We don't have a significant problem in this town with those crossings.
Now, we've got these demonstrations happening. This is obviously a joint operation between police and Nelson City Council.
Yes, Nelson City Council, Tasman District Council, and the police are all combined in this. There is also using a professional driving instructor who will do the actual driving of the vehicles at the time. The children are allowed to stand out there, but we encourage anybody. Doesn't matter whether you're a student at the school or whether you're a 75-year-old driver. Come down and have a look and see how long it actually takes to stop a vehicle in a matter of emergency. It's quite important.
You can see these demonstrations from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Some roads will be closed near these demonstrations. After the break, we'll bring you the latest weather update and some events and happenings coming up from around the region.